Okay, let's talk about dreams. You know, that bizarre, chaotic, and sometimes deeply profound world you dive into every single night. But what are they, really? Well, today, we're going to look at a totally revolutionary theory that doesn't just try to explain them. It actually aims to unify over a century of completely conflicting ideas into one big picture. And look, this question, it's something that has captivated, well, pretty much everyone, right? From ancient philosophers all the way to modern neuroscientists. I mean, dreaming is this universal human thing we all do, but it's still one of the biggest mysteries of our consciousness. So why all the chaos? What's with the strange logic? And maybe the biggest question of all, what is it even for? All right, so let's get into the history here. For more than a century, the scientific and psychological worlds have basically been at war over this. You've got one camp saying dreams are these deeply meaningful messages from our unconscious mind. And then on the complete other side, you have the view that they're just, well, random biological noise that our brain is trying to make sense of. So who's right? Well, what if the answer is both? This is where a new framework called the Ouroboros theory comes in, and it proposes something pretty radical. It says a dream isn't just like that ancient symbol of a serpent eating its own tail, it structurally is one. Think about that. It's a completely self-contained universe of pure thought, a perfect recursive loop where your mind is the only thing that exists. You're the creator, and you are the entire creation. So how does this work? The theory says that every single dream is powered by this fundamental tension. On one side, you have the static nature. That's the predictable biology, the nuts and bolts of your sleeping brain, like random signals firing from your brainstem. But on the other side, you have the dynamic nature. And that's the wild, chaotic, creative story your cortex weaves from all that raw data. It's this constant push and pull between the machine and the ghost in the machine that gives dreams their incredible energy. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. This new framework, it doesn't just throw out all those old theories. No way. It actually unites them. It suggests that all those major schools of thought, Freud, the cognitive scientists, all of them, they weren't wrong. They were just each looking at one specific part of a much, much bigger machine. So let's break down these parts. First up, you've got what the theory calls the Freudian engine. This is probably the one you've heard of. It's the idea that the dream is being driven by something internal, something we know deep down in our psyche, our hidden desires, our wishes, all those unmet needs that are trying to push their way to the surface. Next, we have the cognitive engine. Now, this one is driven by a cause that's external but still known. This is basically your brain acting like an accountant at the end of a long day. It's working to balance the books, processing all the emotions and events, filing away important memories. It's just doing system maintenance to get everything back in order. Then you have the neurobiological engine. This one is all about a random, unknown cause. This is that classic scientific idea you might have heard of, activation synthesis. It's simple, really. Your brainstem just fires off these chaotic, random electrical signals, and your higher brain, your cortex, desperately scrambles to turn those jolts into some kind of story, no matter how bizarre it gets. And finally, there's the Jungian engine. This one's a little different. It proposes a systemic, unknown cause. So the idea here is that the dream structure isn't totally random. It's actually coming from a hidden, deeper order of universal symbols and archetypes, what Jung called the collective unconscious. It's like there's this invisible blueprint providing the patterns underneath all the chaos. So here's the grand unification. The Ouroboros theory shows us that these aren't competing ideas at all. They are four distinct causes, four different engines, and they are all firing at once to create the incredibly complex experience of your dream. It's not about asking which one is right. It's about seeing how they all work together in one beautiful, unified system. Okay, so if those are the causes, that leads to the next big question. What is the ultimate function of all this? Why do we even do it? Why would evolution hang on to such a strange, vulnerable state of consciousness? Well, the theory has an answer for that too. It places the purpose of dreaming at what it calls level 5 adaptive dynamics. And this is crucial. It's not just about cleaning up the past. It's the psyche's #1 tool, its primary engine for achieving balance, for building resilience, and, most importantly, for preparing us for the future. And this adaptation works in two really powerful ways. First, you have reactive adaptation. This is the dream looking backwards, helping us heal by processing tough emotions, regulating stress, and even running, get this, threat simulations, like a virtual reality training ground. But then there's proactive adaptation. This is the dream looking forward, preparing us for what's to come by strengthening helpful memories and even refining complex skills, all while we sleep.
All right, so understanding all this, it's not just some cool academic thought experiment. This actually gives us a practical blueprint for how to engage with our dreams in a whole new way. It's about how to go from being a passive passenger in a bizarre nightly movie to becoming the active pilot of your own inner world. And that shift is what the theory calls the leap from level 5 to level 6. It's the jump from being a passive dreamer to becoming a lucid dreamer. That's the moment you stop being just a character getting swept along by the story and become an agent who is fully aware that they are in a dream. And here's the key. This isn't some mystical gift. It is an absolutely trainable cognitive skill. And that lucid spark, that incredible moment where your brain goes, wait a minute, I'm dreaming, it actually has a clear neurological signature. Scientists can see it. There's a sudden burst of high-frequency activity in the prefrontal cortex. Now, that's the part of your brain in charge of self-awareness, of metacognition, and it's normally snoozing during REM sleep. In that moment of lucidity, it literally wakes up inside the dream.
So if it's trainable, how do you do it? The theory lays out a practical 4-step protocol called the cognitive spiral. Step 1 is the human spark. You set a clear and simple intention before you go to sleep. Something like, tonight I will remember I am dreaming. Step 2 is AI amplification, which just means using tools to help you out, like waking up briefly in the night or focusing on your senses as you fall asleep. This primes your mind. Step 3, the payoff, the human insight, that amazing aha moment of lucidity in the dream. And step 4, the iterative loop. You wake up, you write down your dream, you figure out what worked, and you repeat the process, getting better and better each night. But here's the thing. Ultimately, this path of mastering your dream world, it isn't just about gaining control. It leads to a much more profound insight. You start to realize that you're not just a character in the dream. You are the entire system. You are the Ouroboros itself. You are the serpent, you are the tail, and you are the active consumption. You are the creator and the creation, all at the same time. And maybe the most powerful idea in this whole theory is that the boundary between waking and dreaming, it's not a solid wall. It's permeable. The insights you gain, the skills you practice in your dreams, they can ripple out and actually transform your waking life. And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. If it really is all one continuous loop, what new reality are you going to dream into being tonight?